people of the internet? How's everyone doing today? I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. Today, I'm gonna kind of do what other people have been doing, but I'm gonna throw my own little twist on it. A lot of people have been making, top 5 or top 10 military surplus rifles in this year or that year, and so on. Well, I'm gonna kind of do that. I'm gonna show off some military surplus rifles that I feel are still collectible in 2019. Now, the military surplus market, as all gun owners know, has pretty much dried up in terms of rifles. We do have a couple of surplus handguns coming into the country, but for the most part, the rifles are done. And what I mean by that is you can still get them, but they're basically the same price as a modern production rifle is going to be. So whenever I talk about the rifles in this video, it's mostly going to be based off of collectability versus just price point. You can go out and get yourself a modern production rifle for basically the same price as this rifle from 1943 that's an old war horse with battle scars and trench art. However, I rather have the battle scar and trench art rifle versus the modern production polymer stock rifle. That's just me personally. Not everyone feels like that, but I do. That's why I'm here explaining it. The first military surplus rifle, now I'm not going to talk about like specific rifles, I'm just going to talk about genres of rifles. The first military surplus rifle that I would recommend getting in terms of collectible value is the classic 8mm Gewehr 98. This right here is a Turkish model. You don't have to get the Turkish model. You can get German model, Spanish model, whatever it is, but the Gewehr 98 is a proven system, and it has been for the past, 120 years now or so. So, while I explain this, I'll also be firing these rifles, just for fun, just because it's an excuse for me to fire these rifles. But the Gewehr 98 is something that a lot of countries have, so it's not hard to find. The ammunition, the surplus market's pretty much dried up for 8mm surplus ammo, but you can still find it. However, modern production 8mm is almost as cheap as the military surplus, and it's non-corrosive, the modern stuff is. So it doesn't really seem worth it in my opinion. I would rather just get the modern stuff, but contradicting what I just said, we're gonna fire off some surplus ammunition. This is 1953 production. The Gewehr 98 system is extremely simple. You can find parts for it everywhere. Like, the interchangeability of the parts for the Gewehr 98 are basically, between the countries. Like, I got a German spring in this Turkish Gewehr 98 because it's the same thing, basically. Alright, Gewehr 98. If you were surprised that that was on this list, then you probably don't know much about the military surplus market. Alright, that right there is probably my #1 top pick, just because it is so plentiful, and you can still find it at pretty reasonably cheap prices. Like Yugoslavian, typically around $350 to $450, typical price range depending on the condition. I know Spanish Mausers out there typically run $3 to $4, somewhere in there. I know I got mine at like $250, but it was in pretty piss poor condition. This Turkish Mauser I bought for about 200 bucks like a year ago, so I don't know, maybe a year and a half, I'm not entirely sure. But still, military surplus definitely can be found nowadays. Alright, so next up on the list is, of course, naturally, the illustrious Mauser Nagant. I got a 9130 here, but you can get yourself an M44, Chinese Type 53, an original M91, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Classic Mauser Nagant. The only reason this right here did not make my #1 pick was I used to be able to pick these things up at 80 bucks a piece, guys. Now it's like 400 bucks a piece. It's ridiculous. It is so freaking ridiculous. It's insane. And that's just because people are greedy and they want money. But that's just the society we live in. Anyway, this right here is still a very collectible rifle. Excellent rifle. If you want to get yourself a woodstock rifle for, you know, 350, 400 bucks, it's probably not going to be as good of a quality rifle as the Mauser Nagant is. However, like I said, you can get yourself a modern day production rifle that fires modern ammunition versus the rimmed cartridge ammunition, which is just absolutely awful for rim lock. You can get yourself a way better gun at this price point than this Mauser Nagant here. Kind of loose on the stock. All right, well, the stock's kind of loose on this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and not fire this right now. Sorry about that, guys. Every I don't know, every couple of months or so, just the stock on this rifle starts to get a little loose. That happens with military surplus. You know, this gun's 75 years old. No big deal. It's nothing that was, you know, any significantly dangerous. It wasn't that loose. But still, I went ahead, grabbed a flathead, tightened her down. Now she's got no wobble whatsoever. So, she's the opposite of what you want in a woman. What an excellent rifle. I tell you what though, the trigger pull on this thing, for the money that you would spend on one of these rifles, you would expect a much nicer rifle, but like military surplus is no longer a bargain. It used to be a bargain. No longer is, guys. But even so, fun to collect. Mauser Nagants are kind of like Pokemon cards. Have fun trying to collect them all, especially in your modern day prices. Like, if you were buying Mausers back whenever they were a dime a dozen, and you got lucky and bought like, you know, 10 finished Mauser Nagants at 50 bucks a piece, good for you, dude. You're one of the lucky ones. Me, I got English Vest round receiver at 80 bucks, so is what it is, but I still love my Mauser Nagant. Up next is a rifle that is only to be bought because of its collectible value. They used to be a dime a dozen, just like the Mauser Nagants, but nowadays, the price you would spend on one of these would actually get you the modern version of it. So this right here is a Russian-made Tula Armory SKS. Absolutely beautiful. Gorgeous, gorgeous rifle. But, like I said, the amount of money you would spend on one of these would get you a modern production version of this gun, meaning the AK-47. This gun right here, semi-automatic, military surplus, however, it still kind of has that pre-semi-auto feel, kind of like a semi-auto bolt-action rifle, if that makes sense. It has the old world, old gun feel, but it's still a semi-automatic rifle. Chambered in 7.62x39, which is very common round, very, very cheap. These typically run steel case ammo just fine. The only problem with SKSs is if the firing pin gets stuck, which it does oftentimes get stuck, it will discharge. You will have a negligent discharge. So that's something to pay attention to, but this right here is a very early semi-automatic rifle. The reason I'm showing this off and not a SVD is this right here is a lot cheaper than an SVD or something of that nature, chambered in 7.62x54 rimmed. Not only that, but it's a lot more reliable. The rimmed cartridge is not good for semi-automatic platform. Anyway, let's go ahead and fire this thing. It is stripper clip fed, and it does lock open whenever you're out of ammunition. I was going to say on an empty mag, but whenever you're out of ammunition. So that right there is kind of my I decided to include it in the military surplus video, not necessarily because it's military surplus. The Russian military didn't use this for all that many years. It did see a lot of use in Vietnam and whatnot, but even so, it is technically a military surplus rifle. Semi-automatic, that's one of the reasons that I love it so much. Combine that with the cheap and available ammo, and you got yourself a pretty good gun. However, buying one of these, like, another $100 would get you an AK-47. These used to be on the shelves everywhere. You could get them at any point in time, but military surplus is kind of dried up over the time, so. Alright guys, the next rifle I'm talking about isn't necessarily with the rifle itself, it's more like with the genre. But excellent rifle, very highly collectible and sought after by basically every gun owner who knows anything about military surplus guns. And of course I'm talking about basically any of the Swiss straight pull rifles. This right here is a 9611, and I purposely got this over one of the newer K31s or K11s only because it is an older gun. I like guns with history, and it is a much longer, much heavier gun than your K11 is and your K31 is. These guns are known for their straight pull action, which is an exasperatingly smooth action. Very, very comfortable to fire one of these rifles. The trigger pull on them is also excellent. Swiss-made guns are typically luxury guns. They are very, very nice in basically every aspect. Now, the reason that I got myself the 9611 was I wanted a heavier, older gun with some history behind it that still fired the modern GP11 ammunition. However, you can get yourself a K11, K31, one of those Swiss G11 or G1911 rifles. You can basically get yourself any of these Swiss straight pull rifles and it will be a good choice no matter what you decide to pick. These rifles right here are actually at a half decent price point for what you're getting. The 9611s are typically the cheapest of the bunch because they're kind of the oldest and the most obsolete. However, they're not an obsolete gun. I guess they would be obsolescent versus being obsolete. This one right here, I got at about $300 having it shipped to me, and you know, all said and done, around $300. The ammunition for it is a little pricey nowadays, but it's a luxury rifle. And the ammunition, in my point, or in my perspective, is well worth it. That being said, let's go ahead and fire off about $5 worth of ammunition. I'm used to the bolt action rifles that are actual bolt action. I almost tried bolt action, normal action this thing. Normal bolt action. However you want to say that. What an amazing gun. Now it does, there is a follower in the magazine that does stop you from closing the bolt on an empty mag. That's just something to take notice of on this 9611. Fantastic, fantastic rifle. Tons and tons of history behind that. I got some trench art on this one. And the pure, immaculate machine work that went into these rifles definitely earned this a spot on my top military surplus rifles for 2019, considering collectability. However, in this case, this one right here also has a pretty damn decent price point for what you're looking for. Alright, this firearm here definitely has a bad reputation here in the United States. It has done a lot of wrong, and it's not exactly the greatest of actions. However, it is at a really, really good price point nowadays. Like, I picked up this rifle for $170, I want to say like 6 months ago, give or take. But that price point alone makes this military surplus rifle well worth it. And that is the 6.5 Carcano. Don't get yourself one of those 7.5 or 7.7, whatever caliber that is. I believe it's 7.5. Don't get yourself a 7.5 Carcano, because that ammunition is definitely hard to find. However, the 6.5 Carcano, if you can find them sporterized, they're a lot cheaper too. But that doesn't mean that they're not a military surplus rifle. A lot of people try to stay away from these things because of their bad reputation, but they also try to stay away from them because they take in-block clips. Like, some people are just nervous about rifles that take in-block clips because they don't want to not install them properly. However, installing an in-block clip is no more difficult than installing an external magazine into an AR-15. You just have to know how to do it, and after that, you get it right basically every time. Now, finding a Carcano that has the actual military stock on it will cost you a little bit more, but Carcanos aren't exactly collectible rifles anyway, so if you find yourself a sporterized stock for freaking dirt cheap like I found this one, go ahead and pick it up. Like I said, the actions are not the smoothest, but for a cheap gun to play around with, you can't really go wrong with something like this. The 6.5 Carcano that I have here takes a 6-round in-block clip. Sometimes, whenever they're making the sporterization, they will actually sticking a Mauser style magazine, so you don't have to have the in-block clip, but this one does not have that. It's very simple. Right there on the top, you just gotta push your clip down into the gun. It locks in almost like it's designed to have that in there. Then you simply close your bolt, same type of bolt action system that is on the Arisaka. Well, the Japanese actually formed the Arisaka based off of the Carcano, but that's a story for another time. Well, I just lost a round, so we're gonna go ahead and do this with 5 rounds. There we go. Not the smoothest of actions, like I said, but the 6.5 cartridge doesn't kick very hard at all. Now, whenever I cycle this last round, the in-block clip's gonna fall out of the bottom. Just like all in-block clips do, the Gewehr 9 or the Gewehr 88 did it, the M1 Garand did it, except it spattered out the top, etc., etc. There it goes. This is a fun little rifle. Well worth the money that I spent on it. Now, granted, the ammunition is like 60 cents a bullet, so it's not something that you would take out and do just mag dump after mag dump after mag dump like you would for an AR-15, but at the price point of this thing, it would take a while for that ammunition to match up or catch up with the price that you paid on this rifle. Is it the greatest rifle? No, it's not the greatest rifle. However, it is a fun, little, still currently cheap military surplus rifle in 2019. And that makes it worth it, in my opinion. Alright, I got 1 round left for this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of fire that out. You don't need your in-block clip to single load this thing. You can single load it just fine without the in-block clip. That was fun. Okay, so this next gun is just like the others. It's not really based off the gun. It's kind of based off the genre of guns, and that is the Enfield series. Now, 303 British ammunition is still being produced modernly, probably about 35 cents a round. The Enfield rifles are typically in good shape. If you can find yourself one, it would probably run $500 to $600 if you're getting one at like fair condition, but even fair condition is still pretty good. Alright, so this right here is a jungle carbine conversion. I recently made a video on this, but it is going to make an excellent representation of the Enfield rifle. So, Enfield rifle, whether you're rocking the number 1 series, the number 4 series, the number 5 series, or any of the 22 caliber training conversions, it's still a fun gun. I know the number 4 series, like I said, run $500 to $600. The number 1 series, probably about 4 to 5, somewhere in there. But the 303 British ammunition is still modern production. 35 cents a round is what I pick it up as, and it's a fun gun. The collectability of the infield rifle and how many different variations there are definitely makes it a collectible rifle here in 2019. However, the price point of it, you could pick yourself up a modern day rifle that fires .308, which is a non-rimmed cartridge. It would actually serve you better than an infield would, because infields are notorious for rim lock. However, most of your modern day rifles are not fed by stripper clips, so I enjoy stripper clips. Now, I don't really have any ammunition for this one, but I still wanted to include it in the video, so I'm just gonna kind of do what Venezuela did whenever they sent the video to the United States in an attempt to scare United States Marines. Like, I'm just gonna pretend that I'm firing this thing, but I gotta pretend I'm firing it, and I can't have the magazine in the rifle while I'm pretend firing this thing. So watch me go. Bang, 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 bang. It's a semi-automatic now. Now it's fully automatic. Bang, 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 bang. Infield rifle. You can do anything with it. Watch me fire this without pulling the trigger. Bang, 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 bang. Watch me fire this with one hand. Bang, 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 bang. Watch me fire this with no hands. Bang, 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 bang. Excellent back gun if you're pretend shooting this thing. Watch me fire it without even being in the picture. Bang, bang, bang. All the recoil comes from the human firing the gun, not the actual gun itself. Recoil is a government conspiracy. How else can I fire this rifle? You ever see a man fire a rifle using nothing but his penis and testicles? Busky! Busky, dude! We gotta go to the hospital, like right now, dude! That was just a joke, by the way. Like, I didn't actually do that. I feel like I should say that because some people on the internet just don't get humor. So I'm just gonna say that was a joke. Don't freak out, alright, guys? So this right here is a group of rifles that I just so happen to own, and I own them for a reason. I've been wanting to make a military surplus video for quite some time, but I didn't really know how to do it or what to do. I didn't really want to say, hey, get this rifle because it is, you know, the top pick in my opinion, but I wanted to kind of branch off of that and talk about the genre of the rifle that I was talking about. So if you like this kind of stuff, mash that subscribe button because I do this kind of stuff all the time. If you want to support me, I do have a Patreon page. Go ahead and check that out. I got like bloopers, outtakes, etc. going on there. If you can't support financially, that's fine, I understand. Mash that subscribe button and you will definitely help out plenty. Look at Kevin right there being all majestic. How you doing, Kevin? Let's see if we can get an exclusive interview. Oh, there's Kevin again. There's two Kevins. No. Kevin! Kevin, the audience wants to know about you. Come here, Kevin. Look at those feathers. Hi, Kevin. How you doing? No? You'll have to forgive him. Kevin's camera shy. A lot of people tell me that peacocks are like really aggressive, but these ones are like really sweet. Like if you're feeding them, they'll actually come right up to you and eat out of your hand. It's pretty damn awesome. Fun time making this video. All I can say is, you know, I had a great day. Thanks for joining me. I hope you join me again. Mash that subscribe button. Check out the Patreon page. All my guns and ammo so far are bought by me. I'd like to make content on a much higher scale, but to do that I need better finances. That being said, I hope you guys had a fantastic day as well. If you have not had a fantastic day, go out and make it a fantastic day. No matter what you're facing, you know, even an hour before, you're living now and you have the future to look forward to. You mold that future into whatever you want it to be. If you want to let that hour stop you from molding that future into whatever it is that you want, then that's your decision. Anyway, I have some more 8mm Mauser ammunition left, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that, and this will be the outro to the video. Thanks for watching. And 8mm Mauser ammo is no freaking joke. Did you see that rock explode over there? Let's see, where's the rest of that ammo? There it is. I love that the surplus ammo comes on stripper clips. Like, that alone is why I bought this surplus ammo versus getting modern production. The car's doors are falling apart. That is awesome. Alright, I gotta bring all these guns in before it gets dark.